Namaste, Jai Bharat. There are quite few things different in Bharat from the European and of course other Western nations. One thing is the concept of time, how understanding of time, let me say it in a simple terms, understanding of time. We consider time as cyclical, and the other kind of concept of time is linear. But there's a huge difference between these two understandings. Cyclical in the sense, it's not that going round and round, don't make that mistake. It's in cycles, but each time, in many places, reinventing, inventing the previous time that we had come through. It's not repetition of time, it's reinvention of what happened before in a better way. It's something like Hegel's dialectics of thesis and antithesis, where the antithesis becomes little opposites to the thesis and then forms a synthesis which is actually a higher thesis, and then on and on. Now, this is how Hegel envisaged movement upwards from low to top. That's just dialectics, as he said. Of course, later, as you know, Marx has borrowed it to explain a different kind of phenomenon, which is linear. And Hegel's dialectics is upwards. So, Bharatiya concept of time is cyclical. If you look at Bharat, when we, through our concept of time, Kal Ganna and Kal Sankalpa, we have had great times, very rich with a history, and also rich in the material terms, and with a lot of knowledge, with such an impeccable and perfect knowledge tradition. I call it as perfect knowledge tradition because there's no area where the ancient Bharatiya civilization had not explored into to an extent that they mastered it. They possibly brought all possible knowledge in any given area uh, to the maximum possible obtaining. So, it's a complete knowledge tradition what we find in Bharat. On a comparison to other world traditions, we find that they have knowledge in given specific some few areas, but not a complete area. That's what is unique about Bharat. So why I say this is the cycle time, it goes round and repeats in a higher, bigger manner, and that precisely is what we understand Bharat as Vishwaguru. When we say Bharat as Vishwaguru, this is what we have given all knowledge to everybody in the ancient times. This is part of the history, and many of them are not written and kept. Some people do not know. They are not getting taught in the schools, colleges. Some people do not know. There are many things that yet to be taught. Many things are yet to be taught to our own people. This shortfalls, shortcomings are there with us. That's not because of our fault, but it's because of the situation, geopolitical those days, because of invasions, alien rule, subjugations, imposition of many things, and quite a few things. Those who have some interest should know it. So the question is, the time in Bharat is evolving into a better synthesis. That's what I wanted to say. The time in Bharat is evolving into a better synthesis, where the antithesis, synthesis, interaction is contradiction. As per Hegel, interaction would be turbulent, and precisely we have such turbulent times. And these times, the citizens of this nation should stand and should view what kind of rule or what kind of governance they desire. The question is simple, straightforward, and outright, that what kind of a prime minister, in our system it is prime minister who is everything, what kind of a prime minister a citizen of Bharat ought to desire, ought to wish for? Is it a prime minister who can make his own decisions, who is all in the interest of the nation with the slogan nation first, or someone who dances according to the tune of someone else as a puppet? Why I said this puppet is people should have understood by now. Look at many places in the world. There are some agencies, let me call them as agencies, people who are interest groups. They have their given interests, given objectives, and they don't care about anyone else. They speak about humanism. That's the funniest part of it, with very contradictory and irony part of it. They speak a lot about humanism, but they have no humanism left in them. If at all they had, they must have had it in the past. They don't have humanism. They're not humanists. They're not concerned about others. They're not concerned about any other people. There's no question of altruism in their thoughts, but they pretend to be altruistic, humanistic, welfare for mankind. There are stories they speak, and that's a kind of self-deception which is repugnant, as a matter of fact. It's repugnant to hear these people speaking about these kind of lofty things. That's a different thing. Unfortunately, I don't want to talk about it. Now, these people have their vested interests. They destroy other nations. So you grow, that's appreciable, but you don't grow at the cost of the destruction of others. This is precisely what the European world is doing, US is doing, and they will plant puppets in other nations who will dance according to the whims and fancies of their interests. And they don't care about what happens to these people in the process. They want to obtain their objectives. And these people are so idiotic and short-sighted, they play into their games. This is what happens all over the world. Take case of Bangladesh, which is of recent. Where does this man come from? As caretaker government who is actually ruling Bangladesh. According to whose wish? Someone else's wish. Of course, the deep state and all such stories are there, which one ought to understand according to their wishes. And there are many nations, they intervene. They have this NATO kind of coalition. They have one interfering in the other person's property. That is their nation, their sovereignty. These sovereignties are breached by such agencies who pokes their nose in others. So they wanted in power, and they're desperately trying and continuously trying and ongoingly they're still trying, but they're continuously and persistently trying with all kinds of novel methods from time to time. And there are people who play into their hands because there are some people who think that they want power, and power they can't eat. This is as a Hindu, one should understand that you can't eat power. You just feel that you are someone. You just feel that you are great. You need not to be great. You feel that you are great, and you pretend that you are great. You make others say that you are great by plotting and manipulating. There are such people who become puppets. But one person in our nation and his team, they're not willing to submit. They are not willing to become puppets in the hands of the interest groups, deep state, US, all these people you know. So they stand by that. That is a problem that others face in Bharat. And therefore, they are continuously trying to make internal problems in our societies. Through all kinds of means, that's unfortunately all kinds of means. They do all kinds of dirty things to create problems here. You look at, there was a Citizen Amendment Act, Scheinberg agitation. What the hell is this? Prima facie, it's baseless. But then they got people to stand there and agitate continuously. And then there's a farmers' agitation. My God. Why? They were really, no one was farmers. And none of these people who involved in this are genuinely belonging to the so-called groups which they're supposed to represent. They're all spurious characters paid, looked after, and they're something like mercenaries who come and strike over the nation. And look at this, the problem with them now is we have a prime minister and his team who are consistently belonging to the interest of the nation. They say explicitly nation first, and many of us repeat nation first, and we want to live that way. We genuinely wanted to function towards nation first. Many of us feel that we should be or looking at things in the nation first perspective, peripraksha as we call it in our languages. This is a problem for the Western people. So let the people of Bharat choose what kind of leaders they want, a puppet or someone who belongs to you. Those choices was. I think it's time for the people of Bharat to make a decision between this puppet of leadership and the genuine leadership of Bharat. Forget about all other things. If you look at the interest of nation, you know whom you should select. And we shall be taking. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.